When working in any financial organisation, knowing about the FATF's Grey and Black lists is very common knowledge. But for everyone else, and especially anyone who is embarking on their career path in a financial organisation, what actually is the FATF? And what is the FATF's Grey and Black list? In today's video, we will be taking a look at what is the FATF's Grey and Black list, why countries are added to the Grey and Black list, and the implications of being added. Hello and welcome to another KYC Lookup video where we bring you AML related content to help you enhance your knowledge in the fight against money laundering. Before diving into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Oh, and don't forget to leave us a comment with any suggested topics you would like us to cover in the future. So, on to today's video. What is the FATF? The FATF, or Financial Action Task Force, is an intergovernmental organisation that was created in 1989 to combat money laundering, terrorist financing, and other threats to the integrity of the international financial system. The organisation is made up of representatives from over 200 countries and jurisdictions, including the United States, Canada, the European Union, and other major financial centres around the world. The FATF's primary mission is to develop and promote policies and standards to combat money laundering and terrorist financing. It does this by issuing recommendations that member countries and other jurisdictions are encouraged to adopt and implement. The organisation also conducts assessments of countries' compliance with its standards and provides technical assistance to help countries strengthen their anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing regimes. The FATF has become a leading authority on money laundering and terrorist financing, and its recommendations have been adopted by many countries around the world. Its work has helped to create a more transparent and secure global financial system and has contributed to the fight against organised crime and terrorism. What is the FATF's Grey List? The FATF Grey List, also known as the FATF's List of Jurisdictions under Increased Monitoring, is a list of countries and territories that have been identified by the Financial Action Task Force as having strategic deficiencies in their anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing (AML/CFT) regimes. These countries have committed to addressing these deficiencies, but are still considered to pose a risk to the global financial system due to their inadequate AML/CFT measures. The Grey List serves as a warning to the international community and puts pressure on the countries to take corrective measures to improve their AML/CFT frameworks. Being on the Grey List can have serious implications for a country's economy and financial reputation, as it can lead to increased scrutiny from international financial institutions and makes it harder for them to access international finance. The FATF reviews the countries on the Grey List on a regular basis and can remove them if they have sufficient progress in addressing their deficiencies. What is the FATF Black List? The FATF's Black List refers to a list of countries or jurisdictions that the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, considers as non-cooperative in the fight against money laundering and terrorist financing. If a country is found to be non-compliant with the FATF's AML/CFT standards, it can be placed on the FATF's blacklist, also known as the Non-Cooperative Countries or Territories (NCCTs) list. Being on the list can have severe economic consequences, as it can result in international financial institutions being reluctant to do business with that country. The FATF Blacklist is separate from other lists maintained by the FATF, such as the list of high-risk jurisdictions and the list of jurisdictions under increased monitoring, which are used to identify countries with strategic deficiencies in their AML/CFT regimes. Why are countries added to the FATF's Grey and Black list? Countries can be added to these lists if they do not meet the FATF standards on AML/CFT. The FATF regularly reviews the AML/CFT regimes of countries around the world and assesses their compliance with these standards. If a country is found to have deficiencies in its AML/CFT regime, it may be placed on the Grey list or Black list. Countries can be added to the Grey list if they have made a political commitment to address the deficiencies identified by the FATF and have developed an action plan to do so. The FATF then monitors the country's progress in implementing the action plan and removes it from the Grey list once it has made sufficient progress. Countries can be added to the Black list if they have failed to address the deficiencies identified by the FATF and have not taken sufficient steps to improve their AML/CFT regime. Being on the Black list can have significant consequences for a country's financial system, as it may lead to increased scrutiny and restrictions on international financial transactions. How often does the FATF review its Grey and Black list? The Financial Action Task Force, FATF, reviews its Grey and Black lists on an ongoing basis. The FATF conducts a comprehensive review of the Grey and Black lists every 12 to 18 months. During these reviews, the FATF assesses each country's progress in addressing the deficiencies identified in their previous review and determines whether they should remain on the list or be removed. If a country fails to make significant progress, it may be subject to additional measures, such as increased monitoring or sanctions. In addition to these comprehensive reviews, the FATF also conducts interim reviews of the countries on the Grey and Black lists as needed, to assess their progress in addressing deficiencies and to determine whether any changes should be made to their status. What do countries need to do to get off the FATF's Grey and Black list? To get off the Grey list, a country must demonstrate that it has implemented the necessary reforms to address the deficiencies identified by the FATF. To get off the Black list, a country must demonstrate that it has taken significant and sustainable measures to address its AML/CFT deficiencies and that it has effectively implemented its action plan. In addition, the FATF requires a high level of political commitment from the country's leadership to address the deficiencies. The specific actions that a country needs to take to get off the Grey or Black list will depend on the specific deficiencies identified by the FATF. However, some common steps that the countries can take to improve their AML/CFT regimes include implementing and enforcing comprehensive AML/CFT laws and regulations, strengthening law enforcement and regulatory agencies' capability to detect and investigate money laundering and terrorist financing, enhancing international cooperation and information sharing on AML/CFT issues, improving the transparency of the financial system, including through measures such as beneficial ownership registries, and strengthening the risk-based approach to AML/CFT, included by conducting regular risk assessments and tailoring measures to the specific risks identified. Overall, getting off the FATF's Grey or Black list requires a sustained and comprehensive effort by the country's leadership and the AML/CFT stakeholders. The process can take several years, and the country must demonstrate a genuine commitment to addressing its AML/CFT deficiencies. For the full and current list of countries on the Grey and Black lists, please refer to the FATF's website. Well, there you have it. What is the FATF's Grey and Black list? Why countries are added to the Grey and Black list? And the implications of being added. Please tell us in the comments section if you think the FATF's Grey and Black list work in helping countries strengthen their AML-CFT framework, and what other topics you would like us to cover in the future. We have now launched our very own courses for you to take a more in-depth look at a variety of subjects, such as Introduction to AML, Beneficial Ownership, and Customer Risk Rating, for example. So make sure you visit our website for further details and let us help you connect the dots in KYC. Thank you for watching the video, and if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe to watch more amazing videos.